As the city moves forward with disposition of the Majestic Hotel complex, it's time for an update. And with me today is Assistant City Manager Lance Spicer. How are you today?
I'm good, Terry. Thank you.
Great. Well, we have the Majestic structure behind us. That is what is left of it after the first phase of demolition and debris removal. Can you give us an update as to what's happened to date with the Majestic?
Yeah, absolutely. The yellow brick portion, which was kind of the part of the 2014 fire in February, has been cleaned up. The rubble's been removed. The site has essentially been cleared and graded. So after we finished that portion, we began to develop and advertise an RFP for the remaining structures, which you have the red brick portion, which is behind me, Lanai Tower and Lanai Suites, which make up just under 200,000 square feet of space, and the entire property is just over 5 acres. So right now we've issued the RFP and we've selected our firm to carry out the abatement and demolition.
Mm-hmm. And by the time that viewers see this segment, we may be moving further along.
Absolutely. The firm that we have, that was our highest rated firm, was DT Specialized Services of Tulsa, Oklahoma. They are a very highly recommended specialized abatement and demolition firm that has done numerous projects very similar to this one with outstanding results.
Well, and we understand that they only take the really big projects. Can you describe some of the specialized services that they provide?
Yeah, the project itself will first consist of the abatement of the 3 structures. That means you have to remove all the asbestos, the lead-based paint, the mercury light switches, you name it. It's all got to come out, along with some of the non-load bearing features within the building. Once that's complete, they will begin the demolition with the Lanai Suites, which is on the back side of the building. It's a portion that most people do not see. Following the Lanai Suites, they'll move into the Lanai Tower, which is the newer portion and the tallest, and finally the red brick, which will be their final portion of the demolition.
The red brick being the most familiar part of the Majestic Hotel to many. Now, how are they going to be removing that red brick? How do they propose doing it? Because it's obviously quite a tall structure.
They'll actually work from the back portion of the property. There's quite a bit of property on the back side of it, so they can use it for staging. And actually, you won't really see a lot of the work because it'll be going on from the back side to the front. So as they're doing that, that's how they will accomplish the demolition.
So that's quite advantageous rather than having to see everything out in the open every day.
Absolutely, and it also keeps in mind with the over 14,000 motorists that pass through this point every day on their commute to work or as they visit Hot Springs. It's very mindful of that, the travel corridor there, so it'll keep that open for the most part throughout the 5.5 to 6 months of the project.
But obviously, public safety is always paramount throughout a large project like this. So do you want to address any areas of public safety?
Yeah, DT, as part of their bid, they will essentially fence off the property to secure it so that as they're doing their work, the public, they'll be screening and fencing to keep the public from entering an active demolition site.
Mm-hmm. So obviously environmental concerns were a big part of the first phase. Will they continue to be so as the rest of the structure is removed?
Yeah, absolutely. This one is a little bit more of a known quantity in that it's a standing structure, whereas the last one was a partially burned and demolished to essentially stop the spread of the fire. So this one's a little different, but the environmental activities that'll go on will be no different than what was done with the yellow brick portion.
Very good. And finally, let's talk a bit about the future of the Majestic Hotel. The public has certainly speculated a lot. There's been a lot of talk about this structure as it is the gateway to our downtown. Do you want to comment at all about future use?
Yeah, absolutely. This project here is kind of the utmost importance, obviously, for our city board of directors, the city manager, and the citizens in general, but also it's very important to the state. So we have an opportunity to kind of leverage this project for the social, the physical, the economic benefit of the region and the state. So with that, We're going to look at a lot of different options to determine what is probably the best thing to replace this iconic structure and this very valuable piece of property that is the gateway to the downtown.
So as the whole state of Arkansas looks on with what happens to the building and what happens to this super important piece of property, it's going to be interesting as we move ahead. The board of directors, of course, made a bold decision in acquiring the property, and there's been a lot of thought and deliberation into every step of the process. Right?
Absolutely. We understood when we bought the property in August of 2015 that we were buying a piece of property that definitely had some liability issues with it, but at the same time it was very important to our citizens and to the region. So with that in mind, as the redevelopment process takes place, we'll obviously include the citizens and the other stakeholders, the downtown merchants, the School for Math, Science, and the Arts, and just kind of take a 10,000 foot view when we're looking at the redevelopment side of things.
And the city is going forward with any considerations as to reuse of the property. The city is going to stay quite involved in that. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's paramount concern to us, is to ensure whatever goes here is something that's of a public benefit that also increases the economic and social well-being of our citizens and everyone that visits, but also to make sure that it's something that is viable.
Yes, very good. As we wrap up, is there anything that you'd like to add to this very important project?
Yeah, this project it's one that has gotten a lot of attention, and obviously as we move through it, we appreciate all the support that the public and everyone across the state and across the country has given us. So as we move forward, we're very excited for it.
Yes, and we might remind the public once again, stay off the property, be safe.
Stay out, absolutely.
Right. Thanks for the update today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And next week, we'll bring you more city news.